go, let's go. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It is your main man, juggernaut of multi-platinum production team, Arkatech Beatz. Welcome. Welcome to the music production and beat making live streams. Listen, man, it's been a crazy few days trying to get live on this thing, but every night we try to get together and do some music production tutorials on the MPC X Akai special edition. I let folks follow along with me while we getting it done. So, man, I'm just trying to stream on 2 different platforms at the same time. I got TikTok right here, and then I got every other platform right there. It's crazy right now because for whatever reason, I can't seem to do everything through my Streamlabs. I've been opening up my stuff to TikTok support. They're not answering. I don't know what's going on with them, but we're going to make it do what it do. So anyhow, without further ado, let's go. We're about to get into these beats. We're going to start off with this sample right here. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Looks like it's a tempo of 75. And we're going to go 4 bars on it. For my folks on TikTok, tell me, make sure you can tell me. For my folks on TikTok, tell me if you can hear me really good. For everybody on every other platform, let me know if you hear my sound good. And let's get it going, you know what I mean? We want to make it do what it do tonight. Kaz, what up, man? This TikTok going crazy right now. Let's go. We're gonna name this track and we're gonna lay this down and then we're gonna get busy with this. It's a whole new angle, man. Shout out to everybody that's on TikTok. Let's get it going. Okay, hold on. Let's get this together the right way. Let's get our tempos right here. Get our warping good. Ready? Listen, if it's your first time here, y'all make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're hitting the follow button. The like button helps the algorithm. self-mastery, man, we're going to go through that now. As we start to build the beats, you'll start to see how we are going to start formatting it. So just stick with me through this live. I'm going to build this track, and then we're going to show you, how we start to pull things in, pull things out, pause, and, so we can get it going. Let's go. Y'all ready? Let's get this hi-hat down. What we did is we did a 16 level on the hi-hat, and that's something that I always try to do. Like I try to 16 level my velocities to try to make sure that that we're not starting out on a sound that's too loud. And basically what we're doing two things. We're trying to mimic the realism of a real drummer, and at the same time we're trying to make sure that we're placing our music appropriately in the mix. Let's go. We're going to add an open hat to this. Let's add that in right now. Add a little bit of a tambourine on it. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to the homie E. Santana. Thanks for the gift, man. Listen, man, if it's your first time here, make sure you like it alive. Let's go. Blaze, what up? And they always making new NPCs, bro. Go. We're going to lay that down. Shout out to everybody that's in the live, man. Thank you for being in the live. If it's your first time here, if y'all don't know who I am Juggernaut of multi-platinum production team, Arkatech Beatz. If you see me looking all around, it's because I got the streaming setups. I got 3 cameras going. One here, one here, one here. One setup for TikTok. I don't know what they're going on with. They don't want me to use a third-party software to stream. Don't tell me why. I don't understand. It's really inconvenient. But I'm trying to make it work because I want everybody that's rock with me across platforms to be able to rock with me across the platform. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to get back to this right here. I'm going to lay down this kick drum. And this is only 4 bars. And now what we're going to do from this 4 bars, we're going to take it and extend it into 8 bars because that's what we're going to need to have a base of a hook, right? We're going to add the elements that's going to, differentiate between the hook and the rest of the verse. And then we'll start to copy, pull out things, put things in, and then we'll try to break our song down in that kind of mode, all right? Stick with me. Let's go. Let's go. That's not what we want. Let's go. go.
Arkatech Beatz.
key of G, right? We're gonna add a plugin. We're gonna beef this up a little bit. We're gonna do my go-to. We're just loading up our 808s in Sub Factory. Shout out to Akai for the Sub Factory plugin. They gifted that to us for us to check it out, and it's been nothing but masterful ever since. To be clear. So if you don't got that, go pick it up. It's like a go-to. I ain't even gonna hold you. My man East Santana, the go-to is my Sub Factory plugin. Get the 808 and let's go. We're going to transpose that down a little bit, get that note changed. Lewis, what up? go. Shout out to everybody that's in the live. I'm just trying to find another sound to go on here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna go back. I need to find a sound that I want to put in here to make it just to kind of help to bring it all together. What's going on with my YouTube? A lot of stuff going on right now. Shout out to everybody that's in the live. Trying going crazy right now. Just trying to find an extra sound to put into this track. What up? Let's go. hitting that like button. Let's go. Let's go. See you in the chat. Let's go. go. Shout out everybody listening to live. Go. Shout out Sean Anthony Baker in the building. out Kim Thomas. Let's go. Thank you for the gift. Get that fall in there real quick. And we're doing all of this stuff to just make give some more body to the hook. We're gonna add one more instrument into it, and we should be good to go. You know, I like to go a little bit high strings on them, and then we should be good to go to kind of have us where we want to be. And then we'll start piecing together the rest of the song. Santana, we in the making. We're working on it. Let's go. simultaneously. Kim Thomas, I appreciate you. Let's go. Now we're gonna copy this to a verse. We're gonna make the verse out this track right quick. Right now, we've already added all the elements that we wanted for our hook. So now what we do is we're just gonna strip out some of the parts that we don't want right now. So we kind of want to take out the falls. We definitely want to take out the strings, and we want to take out the lead, and then we should have our verse. From YouTube is asking to chop up a drum break. I've done that in other lives. I may come back to that in another live where I would take a drum break and then you would chop it. You know, I do that often. You know what I mean? Like if there's a drum sound or a set of drum sounds that I really like, I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna chop them up and then, you know, I replay it or, you know, kind of trigger it the way I want to trigger it. It just kind of depends. So there's a bunch of lives where I do that. Which specific ones, man, I can't remember. We are 75 days in. Yo, folks, we are 75 days doing this. 75. I didn't think I could do 75 days straight doing no beats. You know what I'm saying? Now, if TikTok wasn't playing around with my live stream access, you know, it would be a whole other story. But right now, we're going to make it work how I got to work. Mostly boom baps, some R&B in there too, a little country here and there. For those who know, they know. Now we're going to copy this to a second sequence, right? Well, not a second sequence, but a second part of the verse. So the first part of the verse is 8 bars. We're going to shade this down. We're going to divide that in half, make it into 4 bars. And then I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the 808 out of here just to kind of make it, give it some space so people know that it's getting ready to change again, right? And that's the main thing. Is if you're just trying to make space, you're making space for each part, right? Of course, the hook has the least space because that's where everything has to go vocally. Then when the rap comes in, we need some space for that because we need people to know how to tune in to listen. Then when we get to the second part of the verse, we need to basically get people to realize that, hey, it's about to change again, to go back into the thing that we like the most, which is the hook. I didn't do a bass line in it as yet. I do have an 808 in here that kind of gives it a nice little bottom. And it's so funny because you said that, because I was in my mind, I'm like, should I add another low end synth bass? But I don't want it to be overcrowded on the low end. But let's listen to it, and then if we need to put it in, we'll put it in. You know what I mean? That's how we work it out. Chris Gates, I appreciate you. I know what I can do here. So what I can do, right, is I can try to see if I can bring out the low end in the sample. All right. And we can do it that way. And then we can try to make that a little bit more heavy on the bottom end. Gotta make sure that we're not going too loud. Saint the Sinner, thanks for following, man. Make sure that you're subscribing. We're here every night making it do what it do. Again, if it's your first time here, man, again, this is multi-platinum production team, Arkatech Beatz. I am Juggernaut. It's Big Pun, Nas, Jadakiss, Prodigy of Mobb Deep, rest in peace. Big Pun, rest in peace. Raekwon the Chef, RZA, Killer Mike, Freddie Gibbs, Sci-Hi the Prince, Maya, Shorty Low, rest in peace. Waka Flocka Flame, Killer Mike, Trouble, rest in peace. You name it, you know we've produced records for them. Meek Mill. So, we're making it do what it do. I can't forget Max B. Why you do that? Thanks, Hero. Somebody asked me, what do I think about Diddy being guilty of only 2 charges? Only 2? Only 2? He can get 20 years. Only 2? Listen, for the thing that he got charged with, you got to arrest the entire music, film, television industry, because everybody do that. Yikes. it's screaming at me for a bass line. Like it's screaming at me. Like it's saying, "Hey, put a bass line in here. Hey, put a bass line in there. Hey." Just follow the sample and put the bass line. Play under it. Hey, Chris Gates. MD3, I don't know who I see on it, to be honest, man. You know what I mean? I really don't know. Like I don't really. I try not to think about it that way because I think it's kind of limiting. I don't know. I don't really know. Sometimes we do it, and then I get with Mike, and then me and Mike we talk it through, and then it's really about timing. It's about like who's working, and who wants music right now. So it's kind of like you can have it in your head that somebody should get on it, but they're not working. And if they're not working, it's like you're gonna be sitting on it. So what you try not to do is you try not to kind of box yourself into who it should go to, and what you try to do is you try to see what's available, who's working, who's accepting submissions, and then when you're looking at everything, you say, okay, where does it make sense? And the thing about this, man, is like this. I try to break everything down, just kind of simplify it, right? I think what can happen with this MPC, and I see a lot of people saying that it's complex. And I think a lot of times, what are you talking about? Inactivity. Are they kidding me? TikTok talking about it, they see inactivity. Inactivity, like how? So sometimes I'm gonna go. Sometimes I'll go up hero to just make sure that the notes are right. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the notes just, when you're dealing with bass lines, especially when we're dealing with sub octaves, and then when we're dealing with it in the headphones, you can't hear it. Yeah, it's trying to. It was TikTok was trying to say something to me that I'm not being active. TikTok going crazy, man. I don't know what they got something against me, man. I don't know what's going on. I guess my lives are too clean. I don't know what's happening. Like, you know, I might need to do more cursing or something. I don't know what I need to do.
Arkatech Beatz.
Add the tag in real quick.
Arkatech Beatz.
And let's go through this beat a little bit. Hey, Chad, I need a name for the beat.
Arkatech Beatz.
Sand to the beach.
Arkatech Beatz.
Hero says the beat should be named White Caps. Chad, what's the rest of you think about that name for the beat? Let's go. The White Caps. I'm not sure what White Caps would mean. Oh no, I think I know what it means, but I'm gonna leave that there. That's the Bronx, man. These guys from the Bronx, man, they be talking crazy. You making a drug reference. Let's go. Let's go.
Arkatech Beatz.
Let's go. Chat, we had 20,000 likes. Let's go.
Arkatech Beatz.
those who got here late, this is what we started off with. First, we started off with the sample, right? Alright, that goes for 8 bars. Now we started off slow with the hat. And then we got a little velocity on it, a little bit of a high-low. You hear it, right? Then we went to open hat. Right? A little tambourine in there. Put a solid snare into it. We didn't really want to go too crazy with it. We wanted something that kind of cuts through the mix a little bit. Of course, we got this heavy kick going. Then we got an 808 in here. And it's just following along with the bass line and the sample. It says, how is the sound quality on the MPC X compared to the MPC 2000 XL? Well, TikTok can't see it, but you might be able to see it on YouTube. The MPC 2000 XL is over there. I had pulled it out the closet because I was pulling out some sounds. Pulling out some sounds from some of the older stuff for the Patreon. When we start doing the Patreon will start having a lot of tracks that we worked on and kind of working y'all through some of the older stuff that we did in terms of like the pun stuff, the Nas stuff, you know, just kind of letting you hear, you know, how we built some of those records, because I can't do them on YouTube and TikTok for copyright reasons. But once I get behind the Patreon wall, I should be able to do whatever I want to do and be able to talk a lot more free in that. Yeah, and I try to make sure that the snares are going to cut through the mix a little bit. And that's something that, and listen, when I listen to some of my older stuff from the MPC 2000, some of the sound selection isn't the best. And when you look at it in retrospect, you say to yourself, okay, this is what makes it hard for you to place music, because, you know, if you weren't picking the right sounds, it created that issue. Oh yeah, why you do that, man? Like by the time we got to doing Why You Do That, we was in a pocket. You know what I mean? Like I think as a producer, you get into a pocket. Like there's a time where everything you do is just gonna be like I ain't gonna say fire, but you know, for the most part, it's like, yeah, you know, you kind of know exactly what you need to do. You hear exactly what you need to hear. So for Why You Do That, man, you know, again, Why You Do That is like a gift that keeps on giving, because it's almost a record that never happened. All right? So we put this lead in here as well. It's a 2% lead. It's a sync. You know? And then a tremolo string that follows it along. And then also what we added in some just a little air candy, which is like a fall here. Stuff just to make the hook stand out a little better with a guitar, with the wall with that too. So now we got everything together. Let's go. Cass said the beat should be named In That Zone. So I got White Caps from Hero Beats, and then I got In That Zone from my man Cass Productions. Chat, I need a name for the beat. Let's go. Make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing the live. It helps the algorithm. Thank you for sharing the live. It helps the algorithm. Thank you for liking the live. It helps the algorithm. Thank you for your gifts. It helps the algorithm. Saint the Sinner, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate you, brother. All of that stuff, it helps the algorithm. You know what I mean? So super chats help the algorithm, likes help the algorithm, gifts help the algorithm. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to develop a community of producers. What I did not like and what I don't like a lot of times is I see a lot of guys online talking a lot of stuff, but there's not a lot of guys that have true music industry experience. That's my problem. My problem is that I got a lot of internet keyboard warriors, and I don't have a lot of people that have real life experience with real life artists, with not only like, up and coming artists, but also the legends. You know what I mean? So when you look at our discography and you look at everybody that we've worked with over the years, you'll look and you'll say, okay, there are people here who are legitimately going to be icons in this music business that we were blessed to be able to work with during the time that they were alive, or during the time that they're still relevant now. When we talk about a person like Nas, and it's not like we got like one record with Nas, we got several records with Nas. You know what I mean? So it's not a situation where you're dealing with producers who are kind of like, again, internet warriors, and not really having real life experience and can't really talk on real life things. And then also, not only as producers, we were also A&Rs for the top music label at the time. You know what I mean? So being an A&R at the top music industry label at the time, Mike D being able to A&R with Mobb Deep, being able to A&R with MOP, like, this is big stuff. You know what I mean? This isn't stuff these aren't your regular groups. These are your groups that are like, still like kind of, they made the blueprint of what hip hop is today. Smoke, what up? The only time I'm using hardware to mix anything is if I'm doing vocals. For music, for beats right now, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? For beats right now, I'm not doing that. I'm doing everything inside of the MPC or MPC software. You know what I mean? Because once I get the MPC software in, so now I got all my plugins. I got my Waves plugins. I got my IK Media plugins. I got everything that I need to be able to mix the music where I want it to be mixed. So I don't necessarily have to go outside of the box per se. So right now, Akai is on fire with this integration with the live software, with the hardware and the software. It's a dream come true. Like, for all of us who've used MPC 2000 XL back in the days, and I know how it's like when I went back on the MPC XL earlier this weekend, right? I'm taking sounds out of the joint because I have to now dump the sounds on this computer behind me. I have Serato on it, and I have FL Studio on it, right? So I'm using that, and I'm using that to kind of using the digital outs, because I have an older Scarlett that has a digital coaxial out, because on my MPC 2000 XL, the audio outs, I blew them. all of the 8 outputs, they're all blown. Like none of them work. The only one works is the digital coaxial out. Then the only thing that I have, the interface that has a coaxial out input, is my old Scarlett. Bro, you should upgrade it immediately if you got the capital to do so. I'm telling you, you'll never regret it. And if you think about it, the price that you pay for the 2000 XL blown out, right, with the 8 outs and all of that, it's the same price you're going to pay for an X. Come on now.
Arkatech Beatz.
Let me find out Hero's the only one that got a name for the beat, man. I'm gonna have to go with White Caps, man. Y'all playing. He's making it sound like 80s music. Your white caps in the sand. What? Why we got white caps all over the street? White caps it is, man. Between 40 below boots and white caps, man. I don't know what's going on with you, brother. Shout out to you, though. I appreciate you, man. All right, let's set up this sequence. Right, we're gonna start off with the sequence, the hook with the tag. Then we're gonna go into the verse by itself. Then we're gonna go into the second part of the verse. Remember, the second part of the verse is 4 bars and not 8 bars. Right? People are not doing 16s anymore. They're doing 12s, folks. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to inform you. They're doing 12s. If they're doing 16s, they're making the song too long. And because we're in the swipe culture right now, it's not gonna work with some of these folks who, like to swipe fast when they hear stuff. So now we're going to play the song from the top. Y'all tell me what y'all think. If the sequence needs to change a little bit. Let's go.
Arkatech Beatz.
Nope, that's wrong because it has to have the 808 in it. See how if you don't check your joint, you're gonna have problems. So what we're going to do for this one is we're going to let the first fall happen. Thanks to everybody that's sharing the live. So now let's go back to the sequence. Right. And what we're checking for the nuance. We want to make sure that it's transitioning smooth between hooks, verses, second part of the verse, and then going back into the hook. And I have to let me break it down for a lot of those folks who don't really know, like, yo, like this is what we're working with when we talking about trying to get these I'm in standalone mode. So let me break it down for folks who may not really understand the methodology behind really making your songs. And what I'm hearing a lot too, and I had a discussion with the wife earlier today about a record I heard online, but we're going to talk about that. But the main thing with this is like this. Y'all know that the driving points of the song is the hook. You know that, and I know that. That's how music works. Hook, hook, hook all day, right? So, of course, we want to start the record, right? If in most cases, we want to start the record with the hook if we can do that, if we can. Sometimes we can have the intro. Sometimes folks will make you lead up to it. But remember what we're dealing with. We're dealing with that microwave mindset right now. You got to get right to it. If you're not getting right to it, especially when you're trying to shop music, when you're shopping music, you want to make them hear the hook or the instrumentation of the hook immediately so that they can start to kind of work out what the hook is going to be in their brain. Like, you have to kind of make that be the thing, right? We want to give space for the first verse because that's where they get to establish themselves as far as what the melody is or what the rhymes might be. Then, of course, you got the little breakdown. That's basically showing us that we're about to go into a different part of the song. Either it builds up or it slows down, and then it goes back into the hook again. And that's really how we building up songs. What I'm seeing online is I'm seeing people have these viral clips where they're going to have a portion of the song that plays one time, and people, that one part of the song becomes the meme. But what we realize is that they don't make that become the driving part of the song. And that's what I'm seeing happening a lot on TikTok with a lot of these guys who are coming, not even guys, but I'm hearing like R&B songs where you'll hear a song and it'll have this really dope refrain or that really dope bridge part, and it only plays once and it doesn't play throughout the song again. And that's crazy to me. So it's like they're leaving a huge opportunity on the table with that. You know what I mean? Like you're removing yourself from true replay value because you're having something only occur one time in the song, when that's the part that's viral. If it's a part in their song that's viral and that's what people are liking, that needs to recur throughout the record so people can play it all the way through, you know? But, I just work here. All right, so let's get back into this hook now. Let's get back into this song, White Caps. Shout out to Hero Beats. That's coming, Juan. That's coming.
Arkatech Beatz.
Hook now, that's the second hook, and this doesn't have my elements is in there. My elements are not in that second part of the hook. It needs to be there. All right, let's check it again.
Arkatech Beatz.
Rob, it's only 12. listen, Song Narcotics is asking, do we still sample records? Or are we using the royalty free places like Tracklip and Splice? Listen, at this point, I'm using nothing but royalty free, and it's because of this, right? Because we're streaming now, right? And because we're streaming, and because we need music to be able to go out without worrying about the whole sample clearance thing. That's why we're using the royalty free. We're using royalty free any chance that we get. While I love to sample traditional records, I think that I think it's time consuming, and I think that it's not worth. I don't think that it's worth adding on more songwriters to a record that may already have too many songwriters as it is, right? Because depending on who you're sending your record out to, you don't know who's writing the record on the other side. And depending on what genre of music is, because you got regular splits, urban splits, and then you got pop splits. So if there's 10 writers on the song, and say I'm the producer, and typically the producer are the composers of the music, and we're supposed to get 50% of the song, and the other writers are supposed to get the other 50% and split that up. When you're in certain rooms, they don't do it that way. You know, if they add 10 writers on the writing side for the song, they're going to impede on my side. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to make sure that you're adding in more writers and then giving them control over your master versus you having control over your master in your negotiation. And that's the main thing, is you want to have control over your negotiation. Once you put a sample in it, then you don't have control anymore. It's control over third party. You're at the mercy of the third party. They're going to tell you what you're going to get, and I can't do that anymore, right? I've done that enough times in my career, and I've seen the impacts of it over 20 years. You know, what publishing checks should look like versus what they are, you know. And if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't use some of these sampling places. How do you deal with Content ID? Sound Narcotic, there is a video that I have on my YouTube page that talks specifically through the process of how you combat the Content ID situations. I've gone 75 days straight, and every content and every copyright situation that I've had throughout the last 3 months, 4 months, or since I've had this YouTube channel, I've been able to combat them all. So, you know, there is a video that's a step-by-step tutorial on exactly what to do with the Content ID to make sure that you're downloading your license, making sure that you're extracting your license. And even in some cases, you might want to take your license and you might want to put it online on either a Dropbox or a Google Drive and have a link to that when you put in your dispute. So you want to download the physical license. You want to put that into a folder. You want to put that in your dispute saying, hey, here goes my license. This is where it's located. And here goes the contents of the license. It's licensed to me. This is the loop. This is the link to it. This is where it is. And this is the terms of service for Splice. And you have to kind of detail it in that fashion. Like, hey, the content license is licensed to me, your legal name, your PKA. And then it's going to list out the link to where that sample is. And then it's going to also tell you, you want to put a blurb from Splice telling you that this record is licensed to you for this usage. So you want to put all of those things in it. But my tutorial has that step by step into it, and that is on YouTube. I would always tell people to check that out. And if you do that, you'll never have any issue with Content ID moving forward. And also, I was in contact with legal from Splice, and they said they were trying to work with YouTube on that. But what you have happening is you have a bunch of bad actors that are just taking loops, and they're not doing anything. They're taking loops, and then they're taking loop drums and then loops, putting them together, and then trying to release them as a song. And that's just bots to me. Is there a way to get a copy of this particular drum kit? I'm working on making it available for everybody. You know, I'm just trying to tweak it some more, if I'm being honest. I want to tweak it somewhere. There are some things in here that I want to take out, some things that I want to put into it, and I want to make sure that it's where I need it to be. Because I do have a series that's coming out, and we have a drum kit series that we're working on. It's called the Arch Nemesis series. You got to look out for that. Yeah, it's plenty of Fugazi activity, man. These guys are using. Listen, man. Remember what we're dealing with now. We're dealing with the age of AI influencers, AI bots. Everything is AI now. AI songwriters. Everything is AI. So you got to be combating some of that. And we have to find a way to navigate through that. You say you don't want to use the same sounds as everyone else. Can I tell you what jokes on Arkatech? It's like, even if we're using the same sounds, I can almost guarantee that we won't have the same sound. Does that make sense? Because how you hear it is not how I might hear it. Right? You might tune your snares up. I might tune my snares down. I might tune I might filter my kicks. You might not filter your kicks. You might like to add a lot of mid-range EQ to your kicks. I might like to add a reverb. Like, what producers hear are different, and that's what makes it different. The only thing that I like to teach is the mechanics, right? I want the mechanics to be correct, right? In terms of, okay, how do we get from point A to point B? How do we structure our songs? How do we do that? How do we get things commercially viable? Like, that's really the main thing for me. CK, man, I'm going for everybody. You too, man. Let's go. And you know what's really dope? When you hear guys flipping samples. Like, that's how you know everybody's different. Because this guy, we can all take the same Michael Jackson, and everybody's joint is going to be different. Like some guys sample it this way, some guys sample it that way. And I'm like, I didn't hear that. Like, that's just how it. Yeah, that's what's going to happen in this type of situation. Is that, and this is the thing that people are running away from the sample libraries like Splice and Tracklib and these places. Are like, oh, everybody got the same samples. Listen, everybody can have the same samples, but they won't make the same beat. Guaranteed. They can have the same samples, but they ain't gonna make the same beat. That's number one. Number two, we don't all have the same access, right? So I might have access to, Gibbs, Killer Mike, Nas, Sci-Hi, you know what I'm saying? I might have access to that, Benny the Butcher. I might have access to them. You might not have access to those folks. You might have access to another set of guys, right? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then who's working? Who wants that sound at this time? So it's like there's so many variables that go into this thing that, while we're worried about everybody having the same sounds, like it's really almost impossible to come up with the same stuff unless you're cheating and then you're lying about it, right? So now some people will be stealing and then try to act like they're not stealing, you know what I mean? So that's a different type of situation. Patreon coming, man. I'm trying to put everything. I'm trying to put all the resources on the Patreon. Like I'm putting all those things in now. So I'm putting all of the podcast stuff. I'm putting articles and stuff. I'm putting a lot of resources there first. I want to have the business stuff kind of mapped out inside of the Patreon, and then now we can start talking about then we start really getting into the music production and then the music marketing, and then when I start having more producers on our platform, because we still interview different producers. So if you go through our podcast, you'll see Heat Makers, you'll see Baby Paul, you'll see Young Lord, and then Young Lord produced for Biggie and LL Cool J. You know what I mean? So it's like you're getting information from guys who have really, really, really done it. I'm not really playing any games with it. In the past we used to interview guys like we've interviewed guys like Southside and Mike Will made it in the past. And when we first was using our website and stuff, and those things have been archived since. But for the most part, I'm just trying to let people know, like, listen, what I want to make sure that we have is we want to have a very strong resource for folks in this community, and then also making sure that people know how to make music, and then how to really structure your business. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not just about making music; it's about also making your creativity become, a part of your income. You know what I mean? So that you can live off your art and do the things that you love doing. So. Splice or track lib? I'm gonna go with splice. We use both. I ain't gonna hold you. You know what I'm saying? But my preference is splice. Use Arcade in the past. I just don't use it now, but I have used it in the past. I think it's cool. Save this beat. How long we been live now for? 90 minutes. I want to play the joint from the last live. What's the go-to VSTs? I use two right now. In particular, I'm using in the MPC. I'm using Bassline. I like that a lot, and then I also like to use my Subfactory. But then also, you gotta sample some of your own sounds as well. You know what I mean? And you gotta figure that out as well. Yeah, vinyl samples always do sound good. Nobody was asking about registration. Thank you for that. Listen, I want people to make sure that they are registering their songs, man. Listen, it's a real big deal to make sure that you're registering your records, because you definitely need to do that. So this is what we're gonna do. I want to go to a track that we did the night before last night. And listen, the reason why I took the 4th of July off to hang out with the fam. Barbecue food and, pool and all that other good stuff. I did that all day, cooled out. Tried to go live yesterday, and this is the joke. I tried to go live yesterday. As you know, I like to use Streamlabs, right? Some people use OBS, but because I'm using the Mac, I like to use Streamlabs, right? Cool. Every time you go to Streamlabs to go to TikTok, it has to give you what we would call a stream key. Now, I don't know what that stream key is. Streamlabs and TikTok got some sort of deal going on, and they basically give you the access, and then, you can get the stream key and you do what you got to do. So when I go to do it, it's saying that my stream key is revoked or suspended. But you can clearly see I'm on TikTok. There's nothing going on. I don't have any, I'm not revoked. I'm not suspended. I don't have any violations. So I open up a ticket. Nobody's getting back to me. Nobody's saying nothing. I've been opening up tickets almost every single day until somebody gives me some answers and tell me what's going on with it. So in the meantime, I said, okay, I got my other laptop. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to stream on TikTok simultaneously while I'm streaming from Streamlabs. No problem. I go to hook up my audio interface to my TikTok last night, and for some strange reason, my computer crashed, and it crashed, and I don't even know, it crashed, and it's kind of like it damn near wiped out my hard drive. So that was my night last night, trying to basically recover all of that stuff last night. So that's really why I didn't go live last night, because I was up for 10 hours trying to recover 5 years worth of data on my laptop. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. TikTok, man, they're killing me with this. With me not being able to stream on the other joint. Like, I don't understand what the situation is, man. They don't want to give you stream keys, right? If you're not a big enough streamer, they don't want to give you stream keys. Then they want you to join a creator network to get a stream key. Yeah, you join a creator network and then nobody does anything. So it's like, to me, it's like a loop where it lies. Like, you know, they want you to do something, but they don't really want you to do something, or they try to make it seem like they want you to succeed when they really don't want you to succeed. It's very strange. So we did a beat called, I think it's called Switches, the other night. I'm gonna play that, and then y'all can listen to that. And then there's another beat that I have here called, it's not Paper Chase. Is it? No, this one is called Switches. So this is the one we did the other night. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Arkatech.
Y'all ready? Let's go.
Arkatech Beatz.
Y'all hear how that's going? That joint is called Switches. Born ready, I see you. Appreciate you. Should artists try and drop albums on Bandcamp versus streaming platforms? And this is from my man Son Narcotics on YouTube. So he's asking if he should go direct to consumer. On our podcast, we've been talking about we've been telling guys to go direct to consumer for the last 3 years. Direct to consumer is the only way for you to have control of your destiny in the music business. And it's been like that for some time. I've been trying to tell guys that. Like, I've been trying to tell guys this for the longest time. Like, if you're an artist now, you should be looking to move your music through platforms where you can basically collect the data, right? You need data. Data is where the true money is being made, right? If you don't know who your customers are, if you don't know who is building with you, right? So even in a situation where people get onto your lives and people donate, give you gifts and stuff like that, right? All you really have is you have people's usernames. You don't have people's real identities. You don't know who sent that to you, right? YouTube knows, but we don't know, right? So you want to create a situation where you're having a direct to consumer relationship where you can have your database of when things are of who's interacting with you, who's really spending with you. Because the reality of it is that you need to have relationships with the people that spend money with you. That's the real thing, and you want to make sure that we're providing enough value for those folks who decide to spend money. We want to make sure that you're getting what you need, right? In terms of like, hey, if people asking questions, you want to have those answers. And if people want music, you want to make sure that they can have access to that music. You want to make sure that they can have access to the merch. They can have access to the drops before everybody else has it, right? Because there has to be some sort of loyalty to the people that really support you. And there has to be that. And I see a lot of guys talking about they want to build community online and they have comments and they're not answering. They got DMs, they're not answering. Like, that's not how it works, bro. Not now, not in 2025, right? Like, you have to treat everybody as if they're gold right now because we're going into the age of bots and AI, and people are not going to know who's real anymore. So, yes, we're true advocates for going to direct to consumer. We're also we're true advocates for telling artists to not only sell music but to sell other things as well. And people have to get used to this exercise of selling, right? This is commerce. We have to get used to the exercise of selling. Like, the smartest way to do things right now is to use your music to sell other things, right? Which may be shows, which may be live experiences, which may be merchandise, which may be collector's items, Yeah, they all using Bandcamp because Bandcamp is an easier way to Bandcamp is a quick way for folks to use if they don't want to go through the whole process of using like Shopify and stuff. Like, we use Shopify because I'm a little bit more savvy in terms of trying to creating the things that I create on Shopify and having the type of control that I want to have in the analytics. But if you're someone that wants to have like integrated music players and stuff like that, then of course you use Bandcamp. But for us, we don't only sell music. We sell a bunch of other things, and then also we have different affiliate opportunities. We have different brand ambassadorships, and all of those things we can have more control over on our Shopify, right? Let me see if I can get one more beat in here to play, and then there was another sample in this White Caps and shout out to everybody that's still liking the live, sharing the live. Thanks everybody for their super chats and their gifts. I appreciate those things. Those things do help the algorithm, and it helps people to find us. Again, we're trying to create a nice community of folks who are like-minded and trying to get this get this thing taken care of. I have another sample in here that I think I'm going to work on tomorrow because it's getting a little late right now, but you know that's going to be mean. So wait till you hear that tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to work on that tomorrow. It's going to be super mean when we do that tomorrow. Sound Narcotics, listen, this is part of the live stream too. If you watch my live streams for the last 75 days, one, we're building music, and then on the second half of it, we're answering questions. Like, we are answering questions. Like, that's what I really want to make sure here, is that, you know, you're getting your answers for the things that you need to be, for the questions that you might have. And then typically on the live, we're typically showing these books: The Musician's Guide to Music Copyrights, The Musician's Guide to Music Publishing, The Ultimate Guide to Forming Your Own Music LLC. For those who are not familiar, let me find out my TikTok is not showing it the right way. It's showing it backwards. I'm gonna have to fix that. But yeah, that's where we are. That's what we're moving with. Shout out to everybody that's in the live. Tomorrow we'll be back on the live. My intention is to get on before 10 o'clock. As we start to wind down the summer, we got approximately 3 to 4 weeks left of summer left, 3 weeks left. So now I'm getting my kids, you know, trying to get them used to not sleeping so late and going to bed a little earlier, and then getting them to do their schoolwork in the day before we do any hanging out. And then, you know, we're gonna get them, you know, we got some Canva tutorials tomorrow with them. So trying to get my kids on the Canva, trying to get my kids on the editing and all that other good stuff. Till tomorrow, everybody, I appreciate y'all being in the live tonight. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for following. I want to go out with this White Caps beat so y'all can hear it from the beginning to the end. Hold on, I need to add something to this real quick, and then we should be good to go. Get some effects on this like it needs to have. It needs so it don't sound so dry. Let's go. Appreciate you, brother.
Arkatech Beatz.
Nick, what up? Yes, we in standalone mode. everybody in the live, man. I'm going to catch y'all tomorrow. Everybody stay safe. Be easy out there, man.